glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored.
I'm a strong proponent of national sovereignty. It would be nice if we lived in the idealistic age where we have progressed in humanity, where boundaries wouldn't be as important, but it's not coming, it's not here, and it's not likely to come very soon. So I believe in national sovereignty and national borders. I don't like the idea of taking our border guards and sending them to Iraq to pretend they're going to train border guards in Iraq, but we could use them very well right here. But the solution to the illegal immigration problem is not easily done. But if you look at the principle that says that if you subsidize something, you get more of it, you can apply it to illegal immigration. We are subsidizing it, and we don't need to, and if we didn't subsidize it to the tune of automatic citizenship, which is called amnesty, birthright citizenship, free education, free medical care, food stamps, and Social Security, believe me, that might diminish the enthusiasm for coming and bringing their families. State. We have a system of government here, even though we're getting poorer and we're having trouble financially, there's still a lot of people who don't work because they have opportunities to get a check from you. So sometimes the welfare state encourages people not to work. There's a need for jobs, and then people come over here and then they benefit from the welfare state. If we truly had a free market economy, no income tax and minimal regulations and trade policies that make sense. To me, trade policies does not mean WTO or NAFTA or CAFTA. We truly had the healthy economy that we could have and should have with all those particular things. Believe me, the people that would come, there would be a need for jobs, there would not be the hostility, there would not be a threat. Just as freedom brings people together domestically, actually in that sense I believe they would. Today though, that is not the case, and there is this tremendous antagonism, and unfortunately it's going to get worse, but we cannot ever reward the illegality of people coming in and getting in front of the line and penalizing the people that try to come here legally and are legal workers. I've always been concerned about too much government in Washington. You know what my attitude might be about too much government being accumulated at the United Nations in New York City. My position on that has been very clearly, because I introduced legislation to this tune. I believe sincerely that this country would be a lot better off just not being in the United Nations. And we don't need international trade agreements, and I don't like the WTO because it serves the interests of powerful special interests. They claim it's for lowering tariffs, but quite frankly, the WTO is approached more often by our country to raise tariffs and for protectionism than it is to lower tariffs, which in reality are taxes. But the international corporations like international regulations, just as in this country, big businesses are always in Washington fighting the principle of states' rights because they want to unify and make universal the regulations. But then the same approach is occurring in the WTO. And one area that I am very resentful of, and I imagine there are a few here who might be interested in this issue, and that is the idea of international regulation of our nutritional and vitamin products. I don't think we should have any international regulation. In this same area, there is a movement on, although there are many members of Congress who don't know about it and maybe don't care and don't seem to have any concern, and that is the movement toward a North American Union. We should positively oppose that. There are specific plans for a North American Union and plans for a gigantic highway that goes from Mexico up to Canada. At the same time, they are planning to take millions and millions of land through eminent domain, and this we do not need. We do not need an international or a North American currency called the Amero. We're having enough trouble with the dollar, we don't need the Amero. Clear, and the message is very positive. The message is one of freedom and hope. It means that if and when we get our freedom back, we assume responsibility for ourselves, which we will have the incentives to do so because we'll be allowed to keep what we earned. In the early days of the settlements in Virginia, they tried to run their settlements for 2 or 3 years under socialism, and they were starving until they decided each and every one would have a plot of land. And after that, not only did they have plenty, few people who couldn't raise their own. The neighbors had so much, they voluntarily took care of the other. But when they ran it as a collectivist, the settlements literally failed until they went and recognized the principle of private property. That is what we needed. That is what will solve our problems, our economic problems. We have a much better history, we have a much better understanding of what freedom is all about. The countries in the Soviet system did not have those same background. But we do know something about, through our history, about what sound money is, what property ownership is, what voluntary contracts are all about. And with that, if we would restore that, even if and when our country gets poorer, because I believe we will get poorer, because we have lived beyond our money, we live beyond our means, and we have to pay back, and that's what we're doing. In the 70s, we paid back from the guns and butters in the 1960s, and it was very painful. This time, it's much bigger and much worse. There will be payback. We will have to pay for the bills that we have run out, and it's usually paid out by paying off bills, paying off the debt with bad money. But if we do what is necessary rather quickly, and release the creative energy that comes about in free society, we will not be poor for very long. We will get back up on our feet, and we will be wealthy.